Hey, Brendan here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Going to go a little deep in this episode. We're going to talk 2026 rookie prospects. That is right. That's what we do on this YouTube channel. Not only are we scouting the 2025 class right now, but we're going to give you a sneak peek into the 2026 class and in some cases the 2027 class. So if you're interested, you play Dynasty Fantasy Football and you're interested in getting an early look at future draft classes, hit that subscribe button. And of course, check out the website below where me and Jason DiRienzo, my podcast co-host, we have our big boards, not just broken down for 2025, but for 2026 and 2027 as well. Always keeping an eye on the future on this YouTube channel. Again, hit that subscribe button. Help me get to 15,000 subscribers. All right, we're going to give you 4 stock up players, players that you're probably going to be drafting in 2 years from now, and really talk about 4 players who are kind of falling down our big boards on the 2026 big board. So again, if you like the look to the future, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to the show. Let's not waste any more time, Jason. Let's get right into our 2026 draft stock report. I want you to kick us off. Who is the first player that we haven't done this, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. So these are 2026. These are 2026 eligible players. They're not rookies, but they're people that we're going to be drafting in next year's rookie draft. So who are your thoughts of who's the light shining on this week?
Yeah, actually, this is not one I expected to really be on the stock report for me, but after watching enough of them, Duce Robinson, the wide receiver slash tight end for USC, has really impressed me with some of the games I've been seeing. I've been watching a lot of Woody Marks and really trying to get a read on Zachariah Branch and Mekhi Lemon's another guy I like. And every time Duce Robinson has opportunity, man, he shows off that size, that catch radius, the speed, the athleticism, and he's made it into the end zone quite a few times, and he's been quarterback friendly. So Duce Robinson, I like how they use the bigger receivers in this offense. And history kind of shows us that there's been a trend of some success, and that could be Duce Robinson. I kind of like the role that he's playing in, so he's my stock up guy.
Yeah, I like that. He was, he's been a hot commodity for the last couple of years, waiting for him to emerge. So
Right.
that is certainly good news. I've got a few shares in my C2C league, so I like to hear it.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm thinking next year he really blossoms into
Yeah, I hope so.
one of the primary receivers. So, well, I don't think we could really do a 2026 stock up episode unless we have to speak about Mr. Lenore Sellers, right, against the Missouri game. He just tore it up with 5 TDs. He did have 1 pick, but we have to remind ourselves this is really his first year starting, right? I don't know if he got some starts last year or not, but nonetheless, he has been the guy this year, playing in the SEC, playing teams like LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Missouri. And I tell you what, 14 TDs over the first, we're through week 12 of college football, 5 picks, which is understandable. But I think what is really attractive to him is that dual threat ability and his rushing ability.
God.
I mean, this week was his, I wouldn't say breakout game because he has shown flashes in the last few weeks for sure. But this game against Missouri, he put the team on his back. And I mean, we're looking in the future, the 2026 quarterback class, and we're going to look into the crystal ball. I believe Nussmeier is going to be obviously going back to school at LSU. He's not ready for the NFL. I've been saying that forever. And I think Drew Aller is also going to end up returning to Penn State for a little more play. But Lenore Sellers, if he continues this pace, he's got to be in that conversation of top 5 because, without Aller, without Nussmeier and Sellers, next year's class, I mean, there's some there's some players in there, but nobody notable that are going to be true studs at this moment. So stock up for Lenore Sellers. I mean, I have no shares, unfortunately. But the C2C crowd over there, I know Felix Sharp has been pounding the table for this kid, and Corey Piero, also one of my big board, longtime, supporters, has been really excited for Sellers. So excited to see this kid continue to develop.
I'm fully bought in to Lenore Sellers. I've seen enough, and I'm trying to figure out who would challenge him. Maybe Arch Manning, but man, that dual threat ability, that arm, everything I've seen over the last 3 weeks, he's going to be in the conversation to be one of the top guys taking that quarterback for sure. My next guy is going to be, let me make sure. Yep. It's going to be Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. This is not the first time that you have heard me talk about him, but he just continues to constantly impress me. I get a chance to watch Notre Dame every single week, and this is a kid that has the athleticism, the breakaway speed, the pass catching ability, the tenacious running style, and the maneuverability with the quick mental processing that I know NFL teams are going to covet.
Mhm.
He had a huge breakaway one run in this last game, and you just constantly see him making big plays and very reliable as a receiver, even though the stats will not show it. Will not be surprised me if we're talking about Jeremiah Love as one of the top running backs going into next year.
Yeah, I'm going to. I have to agree with you on that. He's got a yards after contact of 4.04 on PFF, and
Ridiculous.
and
Yeah,
it's really, I mean, that's a translatable grade that
it
it's
is.
the majority of these backs that make it to our dynasty rosters have good yards after contact. So I love that pick. I know he's been. Well, what do they call them? The Golden Domes over there, the Golden
Cold
Domers.
Doomer.
Yeah, you're the
Yeah,
Golden Domer over there. I know you're a
yeah,
Notre Dame guy,
yeah.
so you got all
Put my
eyes
bias
on.
aside, he's a talented guy. I
He
just want to
is,
put that out
yes. You are not being biased. That is very good. The second guy I want to talk about, I'm going to I'm going to go to the running back room as well, and I'm going to talk about Quinton Joiner right now. Woody Marks,
there.
fifth-year player, going to the NFL draft. We're going to be talking about him here very shortly. Well, Quinton Joiner, 49 carries on the season, 371 yards, 7.6 an average, 3 TDs. He's also has got some run, in the receiving game as well. But I am really hoping that USC next year does not go to the transfer portal like they have in the last couple of years. They always say, we've been waiting for Quinton Joiner. Last year, he didn't get much run at all. This year, we were thinking that maybe he would. I forget who left USC last year. Who left USC
Marshawn
last year?
Lloyd.
Marshawn Lloyd, right? And we are thinking, okay,
Right.
it's Joiner time. And then they bring in Marks, and you knew he was going
I
to
know.
get the majority of the rock because he was, an incoming transfer and an older, prospect as well. But Quinton Joiner, I'm hoping next year he gets an opportunity to showcase his skills. I've liked him coming out of high school, and he could also be a big riser in the 2026 draft class next year. But he's got all the skills I look for: the lateral ability, the burst, the physicality, the ability to make guys miss. And I mean, in the limited reps that he's gotten, I mean, Woody Marks has gotten 174 carries. Quinton Joiner's only gotten 49. I'm hoping he gets at least 200 carries next year.
I hope you're right because I like him too, and we've talked about him quite a bit. So it would be great to see him in a primary role for sure.
All right, so we got to talk about some stock down players. Those are 4 players that we like.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about some players who may be disappointing, who may be going down our big board ranks on our 2026 big board. Who do you got?
Yeah, first one's going to be Georgia running back Roderick Robinson. And, this is a guy I kind of warmed up to after seeing some of him, on the field and seeing his movement ability for his size, because he's definitely a bigger back. But he dealt with turf toe and he had surgery on his foot beginning of the season. And that is not a good start. It has that feeling, the reminiscence of what went on with Branson Robinson. As much as I like Branson, the injuries just plagued him and kept him off the field. I am hoping that is not the case for Roderick Robinson, but it does not look good right now. We need him on the field. We need to see some development, and we are not getting that, and that does not bode well for his NFL prospects.
I know there's a ton of guys out there with those C2C rosters that have him, on their
Yeah,
rosters. I mean, he was a pretty high
I believe I
recruit
have a share
coming out.
myself.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
couple of years ago. The mantra's always been you trust the Georgia running back room. It's been a reliable source of running backs in the past, obviously. But yeah, that one is tough to swallow. And you're right, he might
yeah.
just be following the Branson Robinson, so that's a disappointment there. I'm going to go with Kevin Concepcion, NC
Ooh,
State
this one
wide
hurt.
receiver. This one really hurts because as a freshman,
Yeah.
he came out with 71 yards. 839 yards. I'm sorry, 71 receptions, 839 yards, 10 TDs as a freshman. And you and I spoke about him and his, schemed open, I guess, kind of usage. And you were questioning, can he win downfield? Can he win in press, man coverage? Can he shake and bake and, snap out of his routes and create? And I think in the short area part of the field, he certainly can. But this year, he only has 47 receptions, 395 yards, and 5 TDs. So he's taking a step back in production, which you never like to see. I am not sure what the quarterback room looks like. I really, I know it's not a Debbie or future NFL asset, so I'm not sure, if that's contributing to those problems. But he hasn't had any wow moments this year. He hasn't had any wow, games. So he's got to be a faller right now because he was higher up in my ranks right now, but he's dropping on my 2026 wide receiver board given this year. And maybe he bounces back, maybe he hits the transfer portal and goes to a different situation to showcase his skills. I think the kid still has talent, but right now he's got to be a stock down.
I agree. Yeah, he's highly talented, and that is definitely a shame. But I can't disagree with you. That's a good call. I'm going to go to another receiver that was honestly a big time recruit coming in. You and I were very questionable about him. I don't even think we had him in our top 10 of recruits, but he was definitely a top 5 recruit at the receiver position. That is FSU receiver Hakeem Williams. Started to come on a little bit this year, obviously not in the best situation. But at the same time, you want to see a player that even in tough times or tough offense and having QB struggles, that somebody elevates it. And you would think a receiver with his caliber of skill set that he was kind of lauded when he was coming out of high school would be able to overcome some of the quarterback issues in the scheme and the offense and different things like that. And that is just not happening. He has not been able to make big time plays, and he is considered one of those long stride big receiver downfield threats, and we have not been able to see him do that or maximize even the short yardage. So Hakeem Williams, for sure, in a class that needs a receiver to step up, is definitely a stock down.
Yeah, and a team that needs a receiver to stop,
oh my God, do they ever?
Up. So if that's the case, if the kid can't even get on the field and stay on the field, it's either he doesn't understand the playbook or he just can't catch the ball or create space in practice, either one. But you're absolutely right. A high recruit that a lot of us, are expecting production, and it's just after 2 years, it's just not happening. And, it's time to move on. My second stock down player for the 2026 draft class, I'm going to talk about, John Tay Cook. He just left the Texas program. He was not able as a true sophomore this year to get on the field. And of course they had, Matthew Golden come in. You had Isaiah Bond come in. So, they've had these incoming transfers that have leapfrog over him, but for him to leave the program, it's a little bit of a head scratcher for me. Maybe he ends up on a team where he can showcase his skill, but he has to be a stock down player for leaving the Texas program, when I would believe that there would be sufficient opportunity for him next year. But with Wingo and all those emerging freshmen leapfrogging him, he probably saw the handwriting on the wall and said, you know what, these guys are better than me. I can't get on the field, so I got to go find greener pastures somewhere else. So that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So he's got to be a stock down for me.
And honestly, I want a guy who's not threatened by competition. I want a guy who wants to compete, show that he can be the best and get on the field. And that's not something that we are going to be able to see from Cook. So hopefully a different environment will change that and make him, a little bit better.
Yeah. So there you guys got it. 4 players that are, rising on our 2026 boards, and 4 players that are, kind of falling on our 2026 boards at the moment.